Greetings, geeks, and welcome to another episode of So You Want to Be a Geek. And today, we're getting geeky about Godzilla with my guest and current intern, Ryan Daly. How are you, Ryan?
Good, how about you?
I can't complain. Welcome to So You Want to Be a Geek, the podcast where we dive into the vibrant and ever-evolving world of geek culture. Whether you're a seasoned fan or just curious about what makes being a geek so special, join us as we explore everything from comics to movies, gaming, tech, sports, and everything in between. Each episode will bring you insights, interviews, and the latest news to fuel your passion and expand your horizons. So grab your favorite fandom and let's embark on this geeky adventure together. I'm Michael Cannetti, and this is So You Want to Be a Geek.
No, it's been great. It's been great to intern for you.
Good, I'm glad. I'm glad you had fun, did some cool stuff, did a little Photoshop, did a little editing, all kinds of good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Godzilla. And the reason why I thought this was a good idea is because in the last couple years, there's been sort of this resurgence of a love for Godzilla and that whole genre, King Kong and all that kind of stuff. Because for a long time, it was kind of, sort of like on the outskirts of things, right? So I remember seeing in theaters the Matthew Broderick one, which, people really dislike because of the fact that it's, doesn't look like Godzilla. It's not, doesn't have the same
like Godzilla.
Right, doesn't have the same charm of it. But, for some reason, and I think it even started before Godzilla -1 came out.
It was definitely before.
This big rise of Godzilla. And, my question is to you, how did you first get into Godzilla and monster movies like that?
Easy. My dad.
That's usually the way. That's usually the way.
One day my dad showed me, I think it was on his iPad. It was back when the iPad was still new. It was Godzilla 2000.
Oh, okay.
I forget how old I was. I was actually below like 10, maybe 8 or 7. I was terrified at first. I would have nightmares of one scene playing out in my head, and it was actually a scene from the movie. But then after that fear disappeared, I grew. I loved the series, and I still love it to this day. It's part of who I am. I mean, look around me.
No, it's true. I mean, as long as I've known you, I've known this is a big passion of yours. And even when I go to comic book stores or collectible shops, there's so much Godzilla merchandise now that it's unbelievable. Even a buddy of mine 3D printed a 2-foot tall Mechagodzilla that he put together, and it's wild. And
Yeah, I constantly see people 3D. I actually do see someone usually 3D print customs or replacement heads on figures because they're not accurate.
So how do you think people, or better question is, why do you think people connect so much with this character and this genre and these kind of movies?
Well, the obvious answer would obviously be escapism from reality.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, also not just the themes of the movies, dangers of nuclear weapons. It's just the lovable characters, how they made the movies with the suits, and now obviously they use CGI, not suits anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Some movies have lovable characters, some have rememberable characters. It's just, honestly, it's a lot of factors. You can't really pinpoint one factor about why someone is a Godzilla fan.
Okay.
Besides, obviously, loving the giant lizard.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
You also asked, asked earlier about where this resurgence started.
Mm-hmm.
It was before -1. It was actually with the 2014 Godzilla movie.
Oh, that's the one with Bryan Cranston in it, right?
Yeah, it was made by Gareth Edwards. It was the big return to Godzilla after a decade-long hiatus since the last movie from Toho, the company that makes Godzilla movies, Godzilla Final Wars, which celebrated its 50th anniversary. I actually have a poster of it right in front of me.
That's cool.
And 2014 was made to celebrate the 60th anniversary. And it was America's second attempt at a Godzilla movie, and I think they did a great job.
I actually like that movie a lot. I was surprised at I thought the marketing did a bad job at promoting the movie because
I thought it was pretty good because that's when I was maybe seeing my first Godzilla movie in theaters. So I thought they did a pretty good job with the marketing.
The reason why I say that is because they geared it so much around Bryan Cranston, and he's dead in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it's really
not the first. It's more like the first.
All right, half an hour. Let's give it
like the first act.
Sure, but it's more focused around
about his son.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, which I thought he was great in the movie too. And the funny thing about Godzilla movies in particular is the good ones, right? Even, in particular, -1 is the most fresh in my mind, is it's not just focused around it's a monster movie, but the character stories of the people that are involved in this chaos. And
Yeah.
and you almost, I think, especially in probably, -1 and a few other ones that I could think of, you almost feel like you're there at the same time as this attack is happening, kind of thing. And that's a kind of
Yeah.
a unique storytelling method.
I mean, Godzilla also just has like it's the type of I mean, it's obviously the longest running movie franchise. It's gone through so many different types of changes in its
Really? It's
tone, like
longer than
from
Bond, really?
it's been since 1954. Last year was since the 70th anniversary. That was like the big highlight of -1. It was the 70th anniversary film.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
Even though it was released the year prior to it,
Right.
it was even like when the movie starts, you see Godzilla's 70th anniversary production.
Okay. Um,
Yeah,
how
sorry, go
many
ahead.
how many Godzilla movies are there?
Over 30, definitely. I keep forgetting the number in my head, but
Mm.
it's definitely over 30.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
37?
7 Godzilla movies? Obviously, different tiers of, quality and production value and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
What is it's hard. I don't want to ask what your favorite one is because that's probably hard to say, but like, what is your
Actually, it's easy.
Oh, really? It is. Okay, go ahead.
It's -1, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing movie.
I mean, before that, it was King of the Monsters from 2019. I
Mhm.
thought they did a really good job in like bringing in other Toho monsters into the MonsterVerse. King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra. I loved that movie, but -1 for me is also just a really not just because of how good it was. It was just my personal experience watching it.
What's cool about that movie is, in a way, you can take Godzilla out of that movie and make it a disaster movie, and it's still a great film, you know?
Oh, definitely. Like it's just the cherry on top.
I look at, I'm a big Marvel fan and whatever, and I look at the
Yeah.
Marvel franchise and I see my personal favorite that I think is the best of all the Marvel movies is Captain America Winter Soldier. Because even if you didn't have the Captain America moniker, it's a great action movie. Like it's a Die Hard level kind of action movie with, heroes and villains and all that kind of stuff. And it can be a spy thriller and all those things outside of being a Marvel movie. And I think that says a lot about good films because you can take the narrative and the way the story is written and still have a great story regardless of, the branding of a Godzilla or Captain America and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like with -1, obviously it's about Survivor's Guild. So you could
Yes.
literally have that just without Godzilla. You could
Yeah.
have something else happen in it, and it could just be the same movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Well,
mean,
besides this, after the second half, then
yes.
Godzilla's more involved in the plot. So,
Right. Yes, exactly.
but it's still no. I fully get what you mean.
So now I have so many questions. So you recently went to a convention all
G-Fest.
focusing around Godzilla. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I didn't even know this existed.
G-Fest is definitely an experience for a Godzilla fan. I've only been to two, actually. Here's from my first. I met a guy who made his own Godzilla suit.
Nice.
It was that that was in 2022. That was an experience. Best weekend of my life, but this one easily topped it.
Oh, really?
It's obviously a big event where a lot of Godzilla fans come together in Chicago. There's dealers, vendors, there's panel events, there's a costume contest, there's autograph signings. It's insane how much there is in just 3 days.
Really? So, I mean, when you mentioned like autograph signing, like who's there that's, signing autographs? Is it actors that have been in the films or is it like comic book artists or illustrators that have drawn? What is it?
It's a lot of things, honestly. Like, it's not even just Godzilla. Like, this year we had the original actor who played in the original Ultraman suit, like who actually wore the suit.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome to me. It was such an honor to meet the original Ultraman. The Ultraman was actually very relevant at the Comic Con. Like, I think they were doing a partnership with G Fest.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I remember watching that show as a kid, which is funny.
And they're still going today with Omega. Like,
yeah.
It's airing now. So
Is it really? Is it really? Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, they're doing a show every year.
Oh my goodness.
But
I don't
anyways,
know.
yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot, like the Tokusatsu Kaiju world is huge.
Okay, so I want to speak about that a little bit, right? Because, you have what's that movie with the blank on the top of my head? Pacific Rim, right? Which is very like Godzilla adjacent kaijus versus giant
Yeah.
robots. Like, what's your thoughts on Pacific Rim and those kind of knockoff or copies of Godzilla movies?
I wouldn't say they're knockoffs. I'd say they're paying respect to the genres.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair
It's
argument.
like in that genre, not really a ripoff. It's kind of like that one anime series, Evangelion, where it's about giant robots or hybrids fighting against giant monsters.
Hmm,
And that's
interesting.
been around since the 90s. I'm pretty sure.
Like
Yeah,
I
there's just so, yeah.
like I like Pacific Rim. The first one I thought was fantastic. I thought it was a great movie.
Oh, definitely.
And I so one of the things that I was always curious about with Godzilla in particular is, has his origin always kind of been the same, that like, nuclear blasts kind of created this monster kind of thing, or has it sort of been different tellings and different versions?
There have definitely been different versions. The original one, I believe, was that for the original movie was that Godzilla was, of course, a creature from the prehistoric era.
Hmm.
But when the hydrogen bomb went off during testing, it was destroyed his entire ecosystem and his family. And I believe it was said there were only two remaining alive, but they were badly scarred by the atomic bomb. The first one being from the original movie, and the second one appearing in the sequel because the first one was killed off at the end of that one.
Okay, so it is kind of almost like a Jaws scenario where like Jaws, the first
Well,
Jaws.
Jaws, it's a shark, yeah, but I kind of don't count the other movies.
But what I'm saying is
I,
Jaws 2 is actually, like they say in the movie, is the baby of the Jaws character in the first movie. Just kind of funny.
but this isn't like, but this second Godzilla is not. It's just another creature. It's not
Okay.
really not the original Godzilla.
Okay, cool.
They're two basically they're two creatures of the same species basically.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, cool.
One was killed off in the original, and then the next movie, a new one shows up, and that was the whole show era.
Okay, cool.
There's so far four eras of the series, which was the Showa era running from 1954 to 1975, the Heisei era from 1984 to 1995, currently the Reiwa era, which was 2016. No, I'm sorry, the Millennium era, which was 1999 to 2004. Now we're in the Reiwa era, which is the 2016 to current day. And then there's the MonsterVerse, which has been 2014 to current day.
Right. So, what do the different eras kind of signify?
I'd say like in time, like the original series was just put movie after movie after movie. The second series had more about continuity, how each film could tie into each other, like with certain characters, reoccurring characters. The Millennium series was more experimental, like what could we do with these plots? What experiments could we do? And now the Reiwa era is just the CGI era.
Mm-hmm.
Really. I mean, Toho has only made two like theater Godzilla movies, 16 Shin Godzilla and is -1. Speaking of Shin, actually, it has just been re-released in theaters with a 4K release.
No kidding. Interesting.
It's actually in theaters right now.
Oh wow.
I'm hoping to see it with my dad on Monday.
Nice. That's awesome. So, one of my favorite monster movies of all time is Cloverfield. Have you ever seen Cloverfield?
I think I've seen clips here and there. Like I haven't seen every single kaiju movie. There's just so many.
Oh,
And
you got to
probably
see it.
hardcore Godzilla fans are just hating me, but I pick what I like, and it's hard for me to expand.
I get that, but it's one of those movies. It's a found footage style movie, and
Yeah,
it's so
I think I
good.
have seen the whole thing. Yeah, I think I have seen the whole thing. It is a very interesting take on a movie. Like it's like one of those like you're out just exploring. Like yeah, just basically it's all in one perspective.
Yeah,
Like you're recording it the whole time.
yeah.
Which is a very interesting style of filming.
It's so cool. It's such an interesting style. Now, can you tell me, there's so many different monsters that appear in the different movies. Can we kind of explain a little bit about them? Like, different ones. Like, I know Mothra, I know Mechagodzilla, but I don't know most of them.
Well, probably one of the most popular is obviously King Ghidorah. He's a three-headed golden dragon.
Oh, okay. That's what
he's basically an alien from space.
Okay. And what else?
one of the most anticipated like foes of Godzilla is Destroya from 1995's Godzilla vs. Destroya, who was created in the result from the Oxygen Destroyer, which killed the first Godzilla in 1954.
Oh wow! And what
So
does that creature do?
it basically is basically like a monster, but it's the Oxygen Destroyer. If I was to put it, summarize it,
Gotcha.
it's basically a crustacean-like creature, but it looks like the devil.
Okay.
If you look up a picture of Destroy, you'll say, okay, that's just the devil as a kaiju.
Interesting. So
Uh,
go ahead. Keep going.
you want to ask about more monsters. Some of the more like classic ones are Anguirus, Rodan, two also dinosaur-like creatures. One is a like an armadillo type creature with spikes on its back. Uh, Rodan is basically a flying pteranodon.
Okay. Fair enough.
There's just so many monsters to cover. It's like insane.
I'm sure. How have they been able to cross over Godzilla with King Kong? Like, how do they? I mean, they've had books, they've had movies, they've like, I haven't seen all of them to even know how to explain it. But how do they kind of cross those two things over?
Well, the first King Kong versus Godzilla movie was all the way back in 1962, and it was a very
Is it that long ago? Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
and it was a very the backstory behind it is a very interesting one. Like the original creator of King Kong, Will O'Brien, I believe so, right? The guy who did the stop motion for it, I believe. I forget if it was his wife or a partner of his, but they were originally going to do like a King Kong versus Frankenstein movie, but they were trying to see what studio would do it. So their partner went to Japan and asked Toho, but they said, we'll do your King Kong movie, but we're not using Frankenstein. We want Godzilla. We want Godzilla. But
Oh,
Harryhausen had not Harryhausen, not right Harry. O'Brien had no idea about this contract deal. So
oh,
he was
really?
basically this happened behind his back,
Oh, no
and
kidding.
he actually passed away before the movie was released.
Huh. Wow. It's a shame.
I don't know if it was the stress of the betrayal. I'm probably doing a crap job at explaining it, but there is
You're giving me more of an
there's
education than I ever had. So there you go.
there's a lot of educational. One channel I would definitely recommend is Big Action Bill. He goes into the history of Godzilla movies, and they are pretty. Honestly, I learned pretty interesting things about them. Not just about like the movies around them, it's just the people who are working on them, like what's going on in their life, what was happening then, what was happening during in the world at that time. It's
Oh,
very interesting.
that's cool. Now, how did your dad get into Godzilla?
I probably the same way like a lot of kids saw it. Like it was a lot of like probably a lot of like those Saturday night movies like they would show horror monster movies.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like like reshowings of like the show era because they would mostly play those on TV.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Makes sense.
I believe that's how he saw them because Godzilla movies weren't really released in America. The only two theatrical well, there was three theatrical. There was Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was a like basically an Americanized 1954, but that was obviously released in like 56. That was the one with Steve Martin, the character Steve Martin, not the actor,
Not the actor.
or not the that's not, I'm not doing a good job at remembering names.
That's okay. But yeah, I mean, your dad and I are probably of close to relative ages and whatnot, and there was never when we were kids, they weren't in the theaters until the
Nowadays, yeah, since
Matthew
2014.
right.
Well,
But like
also 98.
we would go to like the video store and we'd have to rent them from Blockbuster or a local video retailer and watch them
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
how before 98, that's before the 1998 movie, that's how a lot of people saw like Americans saw God.
Mm. What do you think of that 1998 movie with Matthew Broderick?
I don't really it's not my Godzilla movie.
Right.
People say it's a good monster movie, which is fair to say, but it's not a good Godzilla movie. People have dubbed the monster Zilla because people say the monster took the god out of the title.
I get that. I get that. I remember seeing the movie and I wasn't even a huge like Godzilla fan, but
Like the design is an interesting one with it being more of an iguana.
but
I just don't like
it just
it
looks
doesn't
nothing
do
like
anything like Godzilla.
yeah, it doesn't look like Godzilla at all, and I feel like
I
they
can get
that
a vibe. can get by with the looks of it. I just didn't like how it just didn't act really like Godzilla. They weren't trying to make a monster movie. They were trying to make basically this giant animal just being scared.
Gotcha. So you got a ton of collectibles and stuff back there. What is like you have anything that's like your sort of like your prize thing that you got that
Oh,
you're
that's
just like,
well, I have it right next to me. This is what I got. This is probably my prize possession from G Fest this year. This was about $195.
really?
But it's a certain type of Japanese called toy called Safubi,
Okay.
and it's obviously and it's also it was actually hand painted.
Oh, really?
I actually have a funny story of with this figure because when I went to see that booth, I think they were still like getting used to it because it was early in the morning, like they just opened up the doors.
Hmm?
I saw that they had basically similar designs, but they got the years wrong on two of the tags, so the prices were wrong. I told
Oh.
one of the vendors, and they realized it and they corrected it and thanked me. So I could have actually had to end up paying more for this one, like over 200.
Oh, geez. Now, is that like a 3D printed item, or was it sculpted, or what is it?
It's not 3D printed. It's like what's the material?
Like a resin, or like a?
Yeah, resin, like some. I'm not good again. Not
That's
great at remembering like the
now
type of materials.
it articulates too, like it's got its arms move and stuff like that, and legs move.
Yep,
Cool.
it's limited, but
But
like this isn't
Yeah,
really.
Godzilla doesn't move a lot of it.
These type of figures aren't really made to like move like that. They're more for display.
Right, obviously.
There are definitely tons of like articulated figures like from SH Monster Arts, Haya. These Bandai soft
Mhm.
vinyl, I'm sorry. That's what it was. Like these have way like better movement. I mean, it's
Yeah.
had like again very limited articulation, but they're simple figures.
But
They
that's
are
cool though.
weight. Oh yeah, I even have one here which was actually signed.
Oh, really? By who?
Yeah, it was one of the actors in a Godzilla movie, and it was
Oh,
one of my
nice.
favorites. It's one of my favorites.
Nice.
So he signed it for me.
Very cool.
Actually, like there was a quote at the end of the movie, and I had him write that.
Very
It was
cool.
very awesome meeting him. There, like I even got to meet my favorite Ultraman director. Really, my
Oh, really?
actually, give me one second. I actually got this poster signed by my favorite Ultraman director. His name is Taguchi.
Okay.
Trying to that works. And it's of my favorite Ultraman show, Ultraman Blazar, which was also was also being aired in 2023. So 2023 was a big year for kaiju fans.
Apparently. Now, I mean, kaijus are funny because, like, I used to watch, Voltron as a kid, which is an animated show, and they'd fight giant monsters, and then you also have like the Power Rangers that would fight giant monsters and stuff like that. And
I never watched the Power Rangers, but I actually finally got around to just watch the first episode of it was and it's very 90s.
it is very 90s. It's very, very 90s.
My God, it's very fast paced. Like just one episode, I was like, my God, my senses are like, wow.
But it's funny how so many of these kind of shows, those sort of, adventure shows, if you will, all borrow from Godzilla facing giant monsters and stuff like that. Like, it's just kind of like it's an industry of its own, but it also has sparked so much, things around it that people love and connect with as well, which I find so interesting. And it's like, what's cool about characters like Godzilla or movies like Godzilla is they have this sort of staying power where people still love them, right? Like, I was listening to a
Oh yeah,
podcast of the day where it's like, the day of the Western is gone. Like, people don't make Westerns anymore. They don't watch Westerns,
it's
but
like rare when you see a new Western.
right, it's very rare, especially like a movie release one. But, monster movies live forever, like they could go on because you could always tell a new monster movie story that people were going to go see because it's fun, it's crazy, people love that mass destruction, whether it's CGI or a guy in a suit, which I find so interesting.
Yeah.
So let me ask you,
Yeah.
do you know where like the industry is kind of going, like where it's going movie wise? Are they going to do a sequel to -1? What's happening?
They are doing a sequel for -1 currently. I believe filming will be soon. They're still, and as for America, Legendary still is actually recently wrapped up the next Godzilla and Kong movie.
Oh, really?
So yeah, Godzilla X Kong Supernova, which I'm excited to see because New Empire was a fun movie.
Mm-hmm. So
But obviously now this new movie will be under a new director.
right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you said earlier, which I want to dive back into, is sort of, you know, I guess it was what, like the late 80s, early 90s. They're sort of like create some sort of continuity between everything.
The Heisei era. That was from 1984 to 1995.
So how did they sort of weave this narrative of continuity? Because like I'm a big comic book fan, and continuity at
Yeah.
times can be very ambivalent and all over the place. But how do they sort of weave the narrative to make it make sense?
It was very light continuity. Like, you would have a character recurring. Like, the continuity didn't really start until the second movie of the Heisei era, Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is a sequel to The Return of Godzilla, which was in 1984.
Oh, okay.
So basically, each movie kind of built off the next, like having recurring characters. Like this one character called Miki Sagusa, who was a psychic who could track and later understand Godzilla a little bit.
Really?
Well, not like understand, like basically sympathize.
Okay. So one of the things that I'm always curious about is, do you know how Godzilla's like fire breathing power comes from? Is there an origin behind that? What it stems from?
The
Or is it
atomic breath was a result of him getting radiated by the atomic bomb.
the atomic bomb?
So it gave him his indestructible powers, like him having very fast regeneration powers, him being very durable, him being able to breathe fire, and him being able to be so tall.
Gotcha. Why do you think also people, because essentially in the earlier iterations, I know when he fights other monsters, he's the hero, but in certain, he's the villain at times, right? Like, why do people sympathize with the villain? Like, why do they sympathize with the monster or cheer for the monster, if you will?
I'd say because, well, obviously it's so iconic to watch Godzilla destroy a city.
Right.
But it's also because I know there was a very, very famous quote: tragic beings, they are born too tall, too strong, too heavy. They are not evil by choice. That is their tragedy.
Interesting.
So people sympathize with Godzilla because obviously he was irradiated by nuclear weapons.
He didn't choose to be this giant fire breathing monster kind of thing.
Basically.
Gotcha. Well, that's interesting. That makes sense. Listen, I mean, people always complain that like Superman's too powerful or whatever, and I think, but there's something to that, having that much power and, dealing with that kind of power, whether it's Godzilla or Superman or Thor or whatever, right? So that's kind of interesting the way they put that in perspective. Now, the other thing I'm trying to figure out or try to like fully understand is, why is it that like people love I feel like they love the dubbed over versions more than the like, native language versions.
I think it's like maybe there's two answers for that. One, it's because they don't want to read, and two, it might just be like it's like a nostalgia, because obviously dubbing back then was not good.
Right.
It's like a nostalgic type good. Like obviously it's not good today to today's standards. Like back then it was probably okay, but now looking back on them, it's like, man, they were really something.
Way off. They're way off on that sync there. That's pretty funny.
Trust me, I've seen some pretty interesting dubs.
I'm sure.
But it's like there are the good ones and there are the bad ones.
Yeah, but listen, it's part of the charm of the character and the movie.
Basically, yeah, it's a charm.
Yeah. So
even the -1 dub, it wasn't bad, but I personally prefer the original because they just put so much, like the actors had so much emotion. Obviously, dubbing it over, it's like you don't get that same raw emotion from the actor.
Oh, so you rather watch it in Japanese with the subtitles?
Yeah.
No kidding. Interesting. Is your dad feel the same way?
Probably not.
He's like, man, I don't want to do all that reading. Man, there's so many more questions I could think of.
Go ahead.
When did G-Fest start?
G-Fest started actually in 1995.
Is it really that long?
Yes, this year was the 30th anniversary.
No kidding. And
it was a great time to go.
It's always in Chicago too?
I don't remember where it first started, but it did move to Chicago. Like it started small and then it just kept building and building and building.
Like a lot of these cons. Yeah, that makes sense.
Basically, I honestly love the place that it is currently. It's at the Hyatt region in Chicago. It's basically a hotel that can also be turned into the Convention Center.
Convention Center.
Which was also very convenient because you could literally just buy some things, go to your room,
Drop it
drop
off.
them off, and go buy more things. That's basically what that I was doing while I was there.
Sorry, Dad, we gotta leave your sweatshirt alone. We gotta fill my suitcase up with the Kaiju and a couple of Godzillas.
Well, actually, that probably would have happened if our flight actually got canceled last minute.
Oh, no kidding.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there all 3 days. We were supposed to get there Friday, but since the flight was canceled and we didn't know what to do, my mother decided, let's get in the car, let's drive. She wasn't even originally supposed to come.
Really? So she just hang out in the hotel for 2 days?
No.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but the drive was a lot because we didn't expect us to do it. The drive back was easier, I think. Well, for me at least, because I slept mostly.
Lucky you. That's
but
funny.
no, okay, sorry, but it was definitely an experience. Like, I feel like I had the thing for me. Obviously, I like spending all this money just to get these guys.
Right.
But honestly, for me, after this year's G Fest, it was about the people. Meeting the people, meeting the fans, meeting the people who made these things. It's just, I feel like I'm in my element because I don't really have any friends in the area that are Godzilla fans. It's mostly just online. So to meet these same people in person and talk to them about this genre.
Cool. I mean, but that's nice that like it seems to be that kind of event is very much geared for the fans. I feel like
it's definitely for the fans.
I've been to a ton of New York Comic Cons, and it's not for the fans. It's for people to make money off of. And I feel like the G Fest thing is, even though it's been around for 30 years, feels like it still caters to the fans and the passion of the character and the love of the genre, which I think is really, really nice. That's important because a lot of these big cons don't have that charm anymore. It's just all about what advertisements they can get and so on and so forth. So kind of to wrap up, what if someone hypothetically has never seen a Godzilla movie? Where should they jump off? Where should they start?
I would definitely say the original.
The original from the 60s.
No, the 50s.
From the 50s, I'm sorry.
The original Japanese version 1954 Gojira movie.
Wow. Where can they find that?
You can easily find that. And you can honestly find it online. I think sometimes it's on free on YouTube with ads. It's like comes on and off. But it is very easy to find the original Godzilla movie.
And why that one and not something like Godzilla -1?
I would definitely also recommend that. Don't get me wrong. That would be my second recommendation. But I'd say the original is to get where it started.
Okay. Like
the original themes, the original motivation of why this movie is the way it is, because it was, again, just less than a decade after the atomic bombs in Japan.
Yeah.
So you can understand what the themes are for this character, what the themes are for the movie itself.
I mean, it is very poignant and relevant for that time because people didn't know what they didn't know, like what was going to happen after the atomic bomb, hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And, back in the 1950s, you could relatively assume, a giant monster could be formed from radiation. Like it was.
That's actually that's very relevant to like the creator Tomoyuki Tanaka, because he was on his way home from a flight on his way back to Japan because a movie was canceled that he was going to work on, and he was flying over the Bahamas. And earlier that year, the Americans set off the most devastating nuclear bomb yet, Castle Bravo, in the Bikini Island, the Bikini Atoll Islands. But there was a Japanese fishing boat in the area, and the bomb exceeded expectations, and the blast radius went farther out. Wow. So debris rained all over the ship and the crew. And once they got back to Japan, they were suffering from radiation exposure. So that was also fresh in the Japanese people's minds.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the bomb went off June. Was it June? It was March 3rd. March in 1954. Godzilla released November.
Wow. Huh. That's very interesting. Dude, this is wild. The
first Godzilla movie has a insane history. Honestly, I think it's probably the best. Like, if you want to learn about the history of any of the movies, go for the original. It has such an interesting history from how it was concept, it was made, how it was filmed. It's just very interesting, especially how they made the original Godzilla suit. That was a pain for them.
Well, tell me a little bit about it. Like, give me a little, like the crib notes, if you will, or like a
basically because obviously post-war Japan didn't have like materials like rubber. They used quick ready concrete. So the first suit weighed over like 100, over maybe 100 or 200 pounds.
No way, really? Wow.
And the guy in the suit, Haru Nakajima, could like barely move. Like it was so stiff. And when he was like told to like move, he fell over. He actually lost like 20 pounds while filming.
Wow, because he's moving with cement essentially around him. Wow, that's crazy.
Well, they also did made another suit, and I heard they cut the original suit in half so they can use the bottom for like low angle shots and the upper half for upper angle shots.
Makes sense, yeah, because it's all it's all fighting.
There's even a famous image of Nakajima wearing the Godzilla legs with like straps on his shoulders, and it like acting out a scene.
Like wearing suspenders. That's funny.
Basically, yeah, he was wearing suspenders, but with the Godzilla legs.
That's hilarious.
It is a very interesting photo.
So to kind of wrap this all up, what are some of your like final thoughts / favorite moments in any Godzilla movies?
I would definitely say, again, back to -1. Since I was in the UK at the time, in my UK semester, I was wrapping things up. I had to actually wait. I just was not spoiling myself this movie. It released in America 2 weeks prior to me seeing it. So I had to avoid it like the plague.
Did you wait till you got home to go with your dad?
No. The first time I saw it in the UK.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
I went with some friends, and it was amazing. I literally cried 3 times.
Wow.
It was a very emotional Godzilla movie for me.
It's pretty cool.
Because I noticed some like reference callbacks, and just the movie overall, it was just so beautiful.
It is a beautiful film. Like, it really is cinematic and like very.
And I'm very much looking forward to the sequel. I don't know when it's releasing, but it has the same director, same visual effect worker as -1.
Is it going to take place? Do you know if it's going to take place in the same time period, or we don't know yet?
We don't know yet. It's too early to tell so far.
Interesting.
And don't forget, I don't think I've obviously brought this up. Godzilla -1 was the first Godzilla movie to win an American Oscar.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a huge accomplishment. And in the same year as the 70th anniversary, it took Godzilla 70 years to finally earn his American Oscar. What a time.
I couldn't say it any better myself. That's a fantastic way to wrap this up. Ryan, thank you so much for this super informative, history lesson, if you will, on Godzilla that I knew.
Of course.
So little. I feel so dumb that I didn't know all this, but it's amazing. The history.
It's a lot. I barely know stuff about Marvel. Like, I know the bare basics. It's like, and you know little about Godzilla. It's like we're opposites.
Seriously, yeah. What was that website that you said that they could learn the history of the first movie?
The YouTube channel. It's called Big Action Bill.
Big Action Bill. Very cool.
Definitely give it a watch. I could even just send you the link.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in the show notes when I post this on YouTube and everything. So, geeks, that was a super fun conversation about Godzilla. If you like Godzilla, or if you like monster movies, dude, this was the best stuff for you. This was fantastic.
Thank you.
You can follow us on our Instagram and TikTok at SYWTBAG, that's SYWTBAG, and you can subscribe on our YouTube channel, join us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and anywhere you like geeky goodness, you'll find us. So until next time, everybody, stay geeky. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning into this episode of So You Want to Be a Geek. We'd like to thank the Geekster Media Network. I'm Michael Cannetti. I'm your host, producer, and editor. We hope you enjoyed the journey into geekdom as much as we did. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at SYWTBAG for updates, behind the scenes content, and more geeky goodness. Have a topic you'd like us to discuss or a guest you'd like to hear from? Let us know. SoYouWannaBeAGeek@gmail.com and stay up to date and join the conversation. Until next time, keep embracing that inner geek and remember, the adventure never ends.